interesting how, you know, when you want something, I don't know, does this ever happen to you when you want something? When you want something, it just kind of shows up for you? It starts to happen more and more as we become more aware and awake and more conscious. But I'm going to start out with something a little funny today, as I do. All right, so this one, I don't think I've done this in a while. It's called The Pastor's Cat. This particular story made me laugh. Every time I think about the vision of that poor cat, just amuses me to no end. So, Dwight Nelson recently told a true story, this is a true story, about the pastor of his church. He had a kitten that climbed up a tree in his backyard and then was afraid to come down. The pastor coaxed, offered warm milk, etc. The kitty would not come down. The tree was not sturdy enough to climb, so the pastor decided that if he tied a rope to his car and pulled it until the tree bent down, he could then reach up and get the kitten. That's what he did, all the while checking his progress on the car. He then figured if he went just a little bit further, the tree would bend sufficiently for him to reach the kitten. But as he moved the car a little further, the rope broke. The tree went boing, and the kitten instantly sailed through the air out of sight. The pastor felt terrible. He walked all over the neighborhood, asking people if they'd seen a little kitten. Nope, nobody had seen a stray kitten. So he prayed, Lord, I just commit this kitten to your keeping, and went on about his business. A few days later, he was at the grocery store and met one of his church members. He happened to look into her shopping cart and was amazed to see cat food. This woman was a cat hater and everyone knew it. So he asked her, why are you buying cat food when you hate cats so much? She replied, you won't believe this, and then told him how her little girl had been begging her for a cat, and she kept refusing. Then a few days before, the girl had begged again, so the mom finally told her little girl, well, if God gives you a cat, I'll let you keep it. She told the pastor, I watched my child go out to the yard, get on her knees, and ask God for a cat. And really, Pastor, you won't believe this, but I saw it with my own eyes. A kitten suddenly came flying out of the blue sky with his paws outspread and landed right in front of her. Is that cute? Hey, now you all got that image of that little kitty flying. Oh, God works in mysterious ways, especially because that was a true story. So, you know, you never know how God's going to answer your prayer. That's all I'm going to tell you. Oh, so great. So, finding peace within, you know, I've been talking the last 2 or 3 weeks, and sometimes I repeat myself because you got to understand that we need to keep understanding how to do it, because if we don't continue to do the work and practice, that's what it's all about. So yesterday I thought, in the last week or so, I thought, gosh, you know, it'd really be great to get the 4 levels of consciousness from, it's a course that we teach here, and I thought, oh, I'll get it from my office, and then sure enough, I forgot. And so I was on Soul Sunday, and there's Reverend Michael Beckett talking about the 4 levels of consciousness. And this was back in when was this? Probably like 1918, I'm trying 1918. 2017, whatever, it was a while ago. I have stuff on my DVR that's really old. So this is before he broke up with his wife and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so finding peace within, he talks about, and what's good about Oprah, even Reverend Michael, God bless him, sometimes he's a little hard to understand. She made it very, very easy for anyone listening to understand. So there's 4 levels of consciousness, and we've all been there. And the first level is where we are a victim. And we all go back and forth between these levels of consciousness. And we've all been there, yes? So I remember before I really got into this teaching, I was stuck in the victim mode a lot. But the victim mode isn't a bad thing, and we don't beat ourselves up for when we go there, because it's really a catalyst to help us to evolve, and that's what it's about. And it's not that we're not able to get out of things, it's a process of getting out of a situation. So I thought, wow, I wished I would have had this teaching when I was going through my divorce, and custody battle. And then I thought, no, it was exactly the way it was supposed to be. Because then I was watching also Eckhart Tolle, and he said, one of the things that happens is that if you want to evolve, you have to have certain circumstances happen in order for you, it's the catalyst to get you moving. Remember, Michael said that as well. And if you don't have a catalyst to get you moving, you're going to just stay in your little pond, okay? So I always like to say, you know, we can move from pond to pond and move from, we're all nice and warm in our little pond. We're, oh, this is so great. And we're looking, ooh, maybe I should go in that bigger pond. But then we're stuck right where we are. Then something happens. We lose a job. We, I don't know, lose a house. That happened to me. Or it's something else. And then we're forced to move into that next level, the new pond or level of consciousness, right? And then as we do that, we are able to evolve in such a way, it creates, I'm going to say, it creates some strength in us where we're able to find more peace in the face of whatever's going on in our life, yes? Because as we do that, as we evolve, as we move through each situation, we are able to find a way to find more peace and to find a way to be present to that, even though it's very painful, okay? Eckhart Tolle talked about how right now, and this was back, again, 2016, when the whole thing changed, politics and everything started to go, everybody fighting each other, going crazy, okay? And we are apolitical here, just saying that, but what he said is that when there's a shift like this, and there's a major shift in the world, and in our world, it was in our government, and as we had a change in what's going on, it just really put a spotlight on the division between all our political people, between the Democrats and the Republicans. So it put a spotlight on them, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was a way for all of us to wake up and say, what would we like it to look like? And what would you like it to look like? I personally would like to have more of a government like they have in New Zealand. And New Zealand, the only reason I know this is that I was chatting with one of my friends in New Zealand, and she was talking about this and that, and I said, gee, I really wish, you know, we could be more middle ground here, you know, and people would agree more. She goes, that's how it is in our government. And I thought, great, that's a vision I can hold. And I would love to hold that. But what Eckhart said, he said, we, at this point in time, we're still evolving, because he talked about in the New Earth, and Ram Dass and Beckwith and everybody else has talked about this, but that we're still evolving. It's not that we're stopped, it's that it's been slowed down. Do you like that? It's been slowed down. So we have more of an opportunity to grow and learn. He said this one line, and I love this, so I wrote this down. I wrote a lot down. It says, accept this moment as if you had chosen it. Wow, right? We got to put that on Eli. I'm like, what do you mean accept this moment as if I had chosen it? Are you crazy? And then I thought about it, and I go, oh yeah. Because what that does energetically and vibrationally is that then it helps us to expand. Okay, Abraham talks about how we have to be careful of our energy. Ernest Holmes talks about it. In fact, I was looking up some stuff in Science of Mind, and he's talking about the ego and the mind and blah, blah, blah. But what happens as we constrict, as we have anger or hatred, or it has to be a certain way and we're righteously right, what happens is it shuts us down. And it allows us to stop. We're essentially putting a little metal cage around us and going, God, don't give me any more blessings, okay? Because we are stopping our energy from moving and expanding, okay? So what do when we get blocked, when we're in the victim consciousness? We go do yoga, we pray, we meditate, we chant, we do something in order to move us out of that state of being. Because who wants to be a victim? Oh, it's all their fault. Everything is not my fault. It's everybody around me. And then when you go, whoa, I remember I was in practitioner training, I go, it's not it's not them, it's me. And every time, oh, it's not them, it's me. And that was hard to accept. It's painful because the ego and the mind does not want us to have control of our life, all right? So the only way for us to control our life, and Ram Dass talks about this, Eckhart Tolle, is to get fully present, be here now. Be in this moment now. Take the moment and be present. Yesterday I was running around, putting my stuff away, my holiday stuff, and then I'm feeling all depressed. And I'm like, what the hey? And then I thought, be in the moment now. Be in this moment now and be present. And it went away. Because what we resist persists. And that's really the case, okay? So we have a choice, and really what all these teachers are talking about is that we can't allow our minds to control us. We are the masters and mistresses of our minds. And so if something goes along and the mind goes, ha-ha, I'm going to get her this way, then we have to look at it and say, is that real, or do I want to be that? And then we start to release our sense of the small I am to the large I am. Eckhart Tolle called it something about the soul. He calls it the deep I. Would you rather be the little I or the deep I? And he keeps talking about how our souls are here to evolve and to expand in this realm. Our souls are here in order to have a greater expression of what we have here and now. So I pulled out Jim Drever's book, who's another Eckhart Tolle, of course he's never been on Oprah, so they'll never call on him. But he wrote a book, End Your Story, Begin Your Life. Because what happens is our mind likes to tell us stories. It likes to say, oh, you should feel bad about this. Oh, you're a failure. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. And I'm like, stop it. I remember when I first started working here as the minister, and my mind would, while I'm up here, my mind would go, oh, you're horrible. What are you doing up there? And I'm like, stop it, I'm working. And so you really have to do that because the mind is insidious and it will do that. It will take you out at the most weird times. So there's times when we're in, I'll call it stage 2, where we're present, everything's great. And I remember driving one day and this is so good. I'm feeling peaceful, I'm feeling calm. And then my mind goes, oh yeah? What about this? And then I'm like, what? And I thought, no, I am peaceful and calm. I just let that go. Because it's the mind creating stories in order for us to have more pain. And if we really want to have more peace in our life, then we have to allow ourselves to feel and be present and witness what the mind's doing. Is that real or is that not? Is this just for my highest and best good or is that? Most of the time, it's not, okay? It's not. It's your mind, which is the trickster, playing games with you. That's all I'm going to tell you. So I want to read something from Jim Drever. He says, I'm going to be your guide throughout this book, blah, blah, blah. He said, in the practice, you must stop and pay attention. And the practice is getting into the present moment. And what is happening inside of you whenever you are in conflict or are upset, then you must be present with whatever you're experiencing, be it a feeling, an emotion, or an event, without any story. Yesterday when I was feeling depressed, I didn't go into a story, I just go, I'm feeling depressed. This is a key to the practice, learning to face your fears, your conflicts, your demons without a story, without judgment, resistance, or mind games. So, with what's going on in our lives, we have something happen. And we want to continuously be aware of creating a bigger vessel for Spirit to give to us. So I had a thought, and I thought, wow, as these guys were talking, Eckhart and Reverend Michael, and I had a thought. One of the things that I've had to learn in this ministry is to ask for help. Because I remember one time I'm sitting in office and my mind's going, you can just do it all by yourself. And I'm like, crazy, that's nuts. I go, now that's a story my mind created. So then from that moment, I remember I started asking like crazy because I said, you are not taking me out mine again. But what happens when we ask for help, we're really opening the door for Spirit to give to us. It's not that I'm asking Darylyn, oh, Darylyn, can you help me on this Sunday? I'm going to be in New Zealand. Or it's not that. What I'm then doing is allowing myself to expand and allowing God to give me more grace. Because if I can accept help from a person on the physical realm, then I can accept help from God. I can have my prayers answered. I can have the more. I can have that in my life. Have you ever thought about it that way? That was the epiphany I got yesterday. So it really is about continuously allowing ourselves to say, yes, God, bring it on. I'm ready, willing, and able. If we were able to let go of all of the constraints, all of the things that block us from Spirit, we'd be blissed out, we'd be walking on water like Jesus, okay? We would, because we would allow in all of that divine grace and love into our hearts. And that's really what it's about. So what are we teaching every Sunday? Love yourself, let go of the negativity, because all we're creating is a vessel for God to fill it and expand it. And we are that vessel. So another analogy I like to use is that, are we able to, here's how much grace we can receive, or blessings, or prayers answered, whatever you want to call it, or manifestation. We have a cup, and we have a cup of water. Oh, I could do that. Fill up that cup for me, God. And then we have a bowl. And then we go, well, how about that little fountain out there? I like that. How about that pond? And where do we get stopped? Visually think about it. Are you able to expand and allow God to fill the ocean and be infinite with you? That's the work. That's the work, all right? Because if we're only able to receive this much, we need to be able to expand and allow God's grace to shower the blessings onto us. Okay, so I talked about consciousness level 1, and I wanted to get it, it was 2016. Jeez Louise. What is this now? 2019, 3 years ago. Lots of change in that man's life. Okay, so stage 2 is the manifestation stage, and that's where we pray, we meditate, we connect, and we commune. So the first level, or first stage, is victimhood. Second stage is manifestation. So when you look at this teaching here, we're constantly teaching you how to go into stage 2, how to manifest, how to pray, how to be present, how to create what we want into our lives. Now, what happens a lot of times is that people will, I'm going to say they hit a roadblock. They hit that ceiling and they can't manifest anymore. You know why? Because they get too attached to the outcome. So you know how you throw a penny in the wishing well, or you write an intention, you go, oh, okay, I want this for next year. You're not really like focusing on it. You're just allowing it. And in allowing it, we're able to have what we desire in our lives. We allow it. Throw the penny in the fountain, the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Ooh, I want to have, a great year this year. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is happening, and I didn't have to focus on it. The same thing happens, in my finances or things going on in my life, and let's say it's a health condition. If we don't focus on it, if we just pray and set the intention, pay attention to the intention, then what we're able to do is allow it to unfold beautifully. Eckhart Tolle said, in the surrender, so did Reverend Michael. I say surrender all the time, because in the surrender is the okay, God, you got this, take it on, do it, show me, yeah, I'm ready. And keep surrendering. And if you have to surrender to be surrendered, it doesn't matter. Do whatever it takes in order for you to move into allowing that grace to fill your heart and spirit and your soul. So number 3 is where you're able to just be in the presence, and it's wonderful. So stage 3 is really about you're so surrendered. You're in a place of visioning where when you meditate, and I don't know when you meditate, but when you meditate, it's allowing in the divine, it's allowing in God's words, it's allowing in that, I'm going to say, the next steps, but not really the steps. It's allowing God to speak to us, through us, and showing us, what is my purpose? God, what would you have me do? What am I to do now? You know, and to be in that presence and open up to the flow. That's what stage 3 is. It's just being open to the flow. And I remember I used to get upset about this, that, the other, and then I go, nope, not going to take me out, mind. I'm just going to allow myself to feel and allow God to flow through me and surrender up this situation. All right? And of course, you know, stage 4 is you're at one with God. You're totally connected. Now, I don't know, we all have those glimpses. What I love about Oprah's just, she's great. She's an open book, you know, and she says to, I think it was Michael or Eckhart, she goes, but do we ever get to that stage? She goes, I've had glimpses. And I thought, yeah, we all have had glimpses. We've had moments, right? And if we really are able to stay in stage 4, your life is the life of God. We have more than glimpses. We just are feeling connected all the time. We are at a higher frequency. We're at a place where we still have things that happen, but Eckhart told it this way. She says, well, you're awakened, you know, and by the way, there's more than one level of awakening. So you hit stage 4. That's just level 1. Now you got to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? There's more than one level of awakening. So Jim, he's hit level 1. Amen. I'd love to hit level 1, wouldn't you? But what happens is that we continuously evolve and continuously do the work to be here now, be present. And as we are in that presence, we're able to be at peace in our life. And that's what we all desire, I think, ultimately. What is your highest vision for yourself? I want to be at peace no matter what goes on. And the examples of when we're not at peace is when we get upset, we have emotional stuff. And as Jim said in the book, just go ahead and be present to it and allow yourself to just be a human being. And Oprah said she used to be a control freak until she did all that work with Eckhart Tolle. And then now she says, okay, I really don't need to be a control freak anymore. So whatever it is that we have to work on, ultimately, and the bottom line of all of this teaching is to allow, it's to be open and receptive. And when we feel ourselves going down to that lower vibrational frequency, Ernest Holmes talks about it, and he says, just pull yourself into a better feeling thought. Pull yourself into another place where you feel at peace and oneness. Prayer, meditation, intentions, whatever it is, affirmations, which is what Louise Hay used all of the time. So with that, just be in the now, okay? I had no idea he passed, and I'm so grateful for his teaching. And no matter what, whether it's Ram Dass, Thich Nhat Hanh, they both have had strokes, and obviously Ram Dass, but he still lived a long time after that stroke, and he was still teaching. So whatever is going on in your life, just allow yourself to be and feel and sit for a moment. If there's something really distressing you, I'm going to give you a couple of things to do in order to move into peace. Set and breathe, number one. Just breathe, relax. Number two, pray, and allow yourself to pray for what you desire and what you would like to feel in this moment. It's not, I want a better house, I want a boyfriend. No, because the vibrational frequency of peace will bring that to you. And lastly, surrender it up. Just surrender it up. Because as we are in the surrender, we are communing with the Holy Spirit, with God, with the divine. And that's really all it's about. So with that, my beloveds, put yourself in and put a little love bubble around you. So as we put love around us, that's going to attract all we desire in our lives. So with that, let's just put a little pink bubble of love around us. Let's enjoy whatever is coming into our world in the next year. And what we're going to do next week is, I'm going to actually do it came through, I'm going to do a collective prayer. We're going to create what we would like to surrender to Spirit for 2020. You ready to do that? So think about, what you would like to have, and collectively out in the world what that would look like, okay? And we're going to do a little flying wish paper, so come and join us next Sunday as well. Anyway, peace and blessings, enjoy, and your homework is to be in the moment, be present to what your mind is telling you, and get a little freedom and get a little peace. Peace and blessings. Thank you.